I've never been as confused, Mike, for a band
Whatever.
ever. No, in a musical sense,
Okay.
of a
In the history of the
band
pod.
in the history of the pod, over a year. So thanks if you've been
Yeah.
around from the start. Um, I've never been as confused of a production style as I have on this record.
It's mad how inconsistent it is, isn't it?
So today, welcome to the Crypt of Wax. We cover the latest black metal releases. Today we are talking Coffintape. I believe it's a solo project out of Illinois. The album in question is called West of the Moon. This is the second full-length album. Saying that though, the first demo came out in 2026, then another full-length in 2026, now this in 2026. So
they're like a month apart, aren't they? A couple of months
I
apart.
believe so, yeah. So, you know, a big output. However,
Yeah.
very strange production choice. It's like overview. It's raw. It's raw black metal, but it flirts between different kind of sounds. You've got that kind of. Some songs have a bit more like triumphant heavy metal even feel to it, but the production is extremely blown out, extremely like wall of noisy. But then some of it goes a little bit thinner and goes a bit more like second wave, like icy black metal. Then you've almost got like a shoegaze, a black gaze, like atmospheric, uplifting approach to this. It felt like, Mike, that this was like a compilation of
Yeah.
different bands, even, and I didn't know what was going to come next.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think of it being a compilation of different bands, but definitely a compilation of different recordings. Like, it's could be, at times can be so wildly inconsistent between one another, the songs, that yeah, I suppose you could be forgiven for thinking there's another band. There's a real lack of vocals on this. It's not instrumental, but you could have songs at a time that haven't got any vocals on them whatsoever.
The majority of, Mike, I'd say there's probably
Yeah.
So this is quite a long album. There's 12 songs. It's an hour long. I'd say there's 5% of it has vocals on, maybe 10,
maybe more than that.
Mate, there's not a lot. There's only one song that has it throughout, I think, and then other than that, it's the odd vocal,
the odd bit.
Yeah,
which is strange because I think his vocals are cool.
Me too.
And when they're there, I think they add a very valid layer to it. It sounds like we're talking quite negative.
No,
because I think for me this release is a good showcase of the project. Like the songs have this intensity to them, and yeah, I was thinking about this listening to today. Like 99% of people you would play this to think this was fucking unlistenable.
Yeah.
Because it really is so blown out, so raw. But once you adjust to it and you hear what that sort of sound brings to the music, it does bring this kind of intensity. You're in the room and it's like so loud. It has got that. But going back to the issue that I've got with it is that the changes in production and sound from song to song, I find it really hard to enjoy it as an album, if you know what I mean. I almost have to listen to it as a song at a time.
Yeah, it really is track to track as well. It's not a case of like a batch of songs like Phil.
No.
It's it was very much track to track. Yeah, it may have sounded like I was coming across like I was like poo-pooing it. I actually really enjoyed it. There was something really captivating and engaging about it, whether that was the production or the fact that each song was so different and I didn't know what was going to come next. There was like an identity crisis, but in a kind of good way. But I do agree with your points. Like it was very disjointed, that it did just feel like I was enjoying songs rather than an album. but in a weird way, that was the charm of it, and I did kind of like that. On the whole, there was a lot of blown out wall of noise. Like you said, if you gave it to someone who wasn't necessarily versed in harsh black metal, they would probably have hard time getting past track one.
Yeah.
It was very blown out, very full, very like gain heavy, reverb heavy, like just
That
wall.
was a cool song though.
It was a cool song. There was some really cool riffs in it.
Oh, that galloping sort of riff.
Yeah, I think Coffin Tape shines the most when they go down that kind of a bit more like metallic sound.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I actually think the first song was one of the best things on the album, and it took a few listens to work out sometimes what was going on, but there was some really good, like, melody, guitar line parts that were just sort of coming through this kind of blown out chaos. Um, and yeah, I thought, as you said, an album that's got them doing very many different examples of what they can do. This is probably one of the best sounds that they've got, is what they did on the first song.
Saying that, Mike, I actually really enjoyed track two as well.
Yeah.
Pale Fire. So again, like once you went from one to two, it felt so different. The production felt a bit more. There was like more clarity to it. There was like in style as well. It was very different. You had this sort of like reverberated lead that almost ran out through the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that was cool, that
Yeah,
line,
it
yeah.
was very hypnotic. It had like a kind of Middle Eastern feel to it. And this was the first time you actually heard some of his vocals towards the end.
Like I say, he left it late as
He
well.
did leave it late. It was around
And it's funny because you listen to by that point, you've listened to probably about 6 minutes of the album, and I was at this point thinking, "Is
more.
this instrumental?" Or more, yeah. I thought this is probably is this I assumed it was an instrumental album at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So it's weird. I'd love to know the thought process of like when to add vocals versus like when to completely change production style versus like what like songwriting to go with, because it's all very mixed together. Um, Track three, again, production changed. It felt like a kind of mix of both sessions. It was very blown out, but the leads did cut through. Again, no vocals. Track
Mm,
four is where it shifted even more so. Then it went to a more like second wave,
yeah.
early second wave. It felt like it was in that wheelhouse, didn't it? It was kind of a bit darker overall.
Yeah, and also I think this was the first song that had a good amount of vocals in it, in that sense. You know, it was fairly vocal heavy. And I think his vocals does that sort of second wave kind of shriek, isn't it? And it sort of
Yeah.
I think it added that extra layer to it to give it more of that second wave sound.
Very harsh, the vocal, but in a
Mm.
really nice well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
nice, but you know what I'm saying? The sonics of it were really cool. And there was a
Yeah.
really great, like, punky riff around halfway that was really cool, like, really gave that old school energy that was cool.
Mhm.
Then track five went a little bit more like that, like I was saying, that atmospheric black gaze. It had like just huge leads and huge wall of noise, very effect heavy in terms of like reverb and gain. And it was just a completely different vibe to the track
Yeah.
before. Very
It's good
strange.
though.
Yeah, uh, every song was good. This is what was quite strange about it. I didn't listen to one of these songs and think this is not a good song. I think,
It's the cohesion it sort of lacked, didn't it? And that's
yeah,
not, which I still think is more in the production than even the songs being different. I think if the production had stayed the same throughout, it could have flowed better even if the songs were varying in sound and stuff. It was
agreed.
for me, it was the production and like the different levels and things, like some were louder than other,
Yeah.
that kind of lacks that cohesion of enjoying an album properly.
Well, speaking about like loud, track six was insanely blown out. This song,
Yeah.
more so than any of the others, it felt like there was like it felt like they'd played it back out of a rotary speaker and record it through that and pushed the gain
Hard
up.
to listen
It was
to. It
really
was kinda hard
whirring.
to.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
But in a weird way, kind of cool. There was some really cool
It was
triumphant.
all cool, that's the thing,
Yeah,
it was all cool, yeah.
very strange. Track seven was probably my favorite, Mike. Hollow Star. This went back to that darker feel to it. It was
Yeah,
very hypnotic. There weren't much elements to the song. There was maybe like two riffs that just sort of repeated through, but it was just carried by the relentlessness and like the delivery of it. It was almost like suffocating. It felt just like
yeah.
it was very intense. I think that paired with like the metallic riffs, I think you'd have something really cool there. With some editing, like this is like an hour long. You could probably get 2 albums out of this. That
I think you easily could. And I think they would have the songs would have benefited by being into smaller releases.
yeah, and paired with each ones because it did feel like there were maybe three songs of each style like dotted around that you
Mm,
probably could have merged and changed to that. Track 8, Mike. Now this is the weirdest production choice of the whole album.
bizarre.
This
Well,
is
it's kind of like it's kind of almost properly. It's much
yeah,
much more clarity, like way easier to listen to, if you know
yeah,
what I mean.
yeah.
It stands out enormously, and it's a cool song as well, and it's in a way, it's quite interesting hearing this project, like, what it would sound like if it didn't have the
Cleaner.
production styles it was going for, if it was much cleaner and there was clarity, you could hear the drums really well, you could hear the guitar riffs really well, what was going on. Um, it's just bizarre where it fits in the album, it's so different.
It's the only track that is that way as well, which is strange. And like it's almost as if they just forgot to put the like effects on it. Do you know what I mean? It feels like there it needed to be run through one more layer of processing, but it hadn't quite got there
I
yet.
didn't know it needed more than that to make it sound like what it was before. I
Mm,
mean, I mean, I would imagine it would be amazing to find out whether all the other songs sounded like that, and
initially.
then
Yeah.
and then they made it sound like the way it does. Because I actually think, even though I really like that raw, blown out production, I actually think the production on this is kind of better in a way.
Ooh,
Like
I disagree.
it, I know it lacks the intensity and stuff, but I would be interested to hear these songs or a selection of them all sounding the same as this one, and see what that sounded like
Yeah.
as a release on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting, man. Again, it's just such a I've never had something be so confusing to me when I've been listening
Yeah,
to it.
I get the yeah, confusion's right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but in a weird way, like, is that the point? Is that
I don't know,
yeah,
but all I do know is the songs and the riffs and the drums as well are really good.
yeah, really good. Like, there's a lot of good music on display here. I guess like there's a lot of songs. So one I do want to touch on is track 11. This was one of my favorite songs as well. There
Was probably mine.
was it the kind of
Yeah,
metallic gallopy riffs that were thrown in there, right?
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
there's some really nice sounding tones on the guitar as well. The chords and stuff they were using, it was great.
Yeah, really cool. Look, this is very interesting. Listen, this one. How did you find this actually? Because you were like, "Oh, let's do this."
I think just on Bandcamp, just looking at what just come out.
Yeah. So like, we dig around and try and find some weird stuff that is at least interesting to talk about. We don't really talk about these before coming on here, so it's more of like a discussion. So I was actually really excited to kind of get out how crazy this was production wise.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's weird, man. It's as you said, it's confusing. I think it's a really good document of this band to hear like what they're doing, but as an album, I don't think it really works because of the difference in production sort of throughout. It just doesn't. It lacks the cohesion. But as a band, I really like it, and as I was saying, I really enjoy it per song, but not as a collective. I think the production makes it not really all work, and probably also it is a bit long for this sort of style,
yeah,
and also it's the sort of lack of vocals is weird because it's like I sort of feel at that point with how little there are there, you should either maybe commit to being an instrumental band or up the amount of vocals to make it more part of the sound, because with the riffs and stuff he's doing, there's parts that you listen to and you go, that would really benefit from like
yeah.
a vocal there to like sort of nail that emotion that's going on in that part.
Yeah, fully agreed. Fully agreed. If you have
Do
watched
check it
this,
out though.
yeah,
It's definitely worth checking
I
out.
was going
Yeah.
to say if you got to this point in this video, do go and check this out and come back. Let us know what you think of it. It's definitely a weird one for sure, but in a cool way. There's some really good moments going on. Keen to know what's going to come next because it'll probably come out next week, judging by how how much they've done in the
Oh
space.
yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something else come up by them in the next couple of months.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
Listen,
I'd be interested. I want to hear. I want to hear what they do
what the
with, like,
progression
you know,
goes.
production and stuff. Whether it's the
Yeah,
same sort of thing again, or whether they start recording with a bit more cohesion in the recording.
I'm intrigued, Mike. Color me
Me too,
intrigued.
very much.
Yeah. Listen, if you got to this point in this video, thank you for sticking around and checking it out. Like I said, we cover the latest in black metal releases. We put out videos every Wednesday and Friday. So give us a subscribe if you like this kind of content, and we will hopefully catch you in the next one.